Hey, John.
Eric, how you doing tonight?
I I am home.
Home is a good
No,
place to be. Home is
last
a good
week
place to be.
was the vacation week, and so getting home and then having to catch up and um, you know, on work projects and home projects, and it was so nice this weekend. It
It
was
really was.
it was hard to get out and not and do chores. It was, anyways. It was great. So yeah, back long drive. We did the whole shot from Grandma's house home in one day rather than split it up. Well,
Woo.
like we did on the way out. So and then daughter number two, who is at college out in northern Utah, is coming home in May and calls me this morning or this afternoon and says, "Hey, Dad, I don't want to drive home by myself. Can you fly out and drive home with me?" Of course I can, daughter.
Of- that is.
So I will be doing that in May on a Sunday. So it's
Well,
all
I
good.
don't. I
It's all good.
don't know if it's accurate because I have um, no, record or citation other than somebody on YouTube. I think it was YouTube said that by the time your kids go to college, you will have spent 80% of the time that you get to spend with them. So
Mm,
when you're college, no longer really child, but your college aged young adult says, "Hey, would you like to come spend 12 hours with me in a car?"
the answer to that
Yeah,
is
the
always
answer to that
yes.
is yes. That would be a lovely thing, and I would love to help with that.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
I, I,
yes, yes, yes.
I think her ulterior motive too is help me move out of my apartment. Help me pack
Sure,
stuff.
sure, sure. No, no.
Which, yeah, we'll see.
You
It's
are
it's okay.
you are, as some people say, not confused.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, yeah, that's a long drive home, but yeah, last Friday, Saturday, Sunday was lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Today the rains began again, or at least the gray settled back in. But
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
it's April,
I had
so
to put a coat on again. It was like, wait a minute.
yeah, exactly. No, no, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. So,
Yeah. And I know no one else can see this, but my headphones are brand new headphones because guess who forgot their headphones? Not at grandma's house, but in a hotel who now can't find them. And for those who can't see, that's me raising my hand. So I had to go get new headphones.
I'm
Like I
like,
have my
I'm like,
nice
is this
Bose
a good
headphones.
excuse?
No, I loved those other. They were great. They had a nice hard case. These new ones, I just got them from Costco. Not cheap,
Yeah,
but you know they don't have the hard case. It's now a soft case, which I liked the hard case
yeah.
because then I could cram it anywhere and not have to worry about them getting squished. But
I bet you
that's
can
what
buy one
happens.
on Amazon for $20.
Uh, I should probably look at that. You can buy anything on Amazon.
I I went hunting for a battery tonight actually, and I did actually think I was going to have to buy it on Amazon because I went down to the photo. It was for an old Canon camera that we have.
Mm.
My boy's taking a photography class this term. My older son,
Ah,
and so we are shipping him our old camera, which has not come out of the camera bag for like 5 years because cell phones, and the battery doesn't charge
I will
or didn't
bet
charge.
you I probably have batteries and
Well,
chargers for said camera if you would like to borrow them.
I bought one.
Okay.
It is charging. The shutter bug did not have it, but
Mm.
batteries plus bulbs did, ironically enough. Which I'll be honest, I gave a very low probability, but it is in the name, so
Yeah.
perhaps I should have given them a little more credit.
I I have not frequented that store often, but every time I have, they have the weird thing I need, the weird battery I need. So
Well, batteries plus
props.
bulbs is well
Yeah.
named, evidently. So anyway,
All
Well, I
right.
have a minor bee update. I gotta like now leave my hives alone for like 2 weeks or so. But I did get back into them this past Saturday. It was a beautiful day,
Okay.
and the splits are proceeding. I think I have queen cells that hatched out, and now I just gotta wait like 2 more weeks to see if a queen comes back and starts laying. So that's the news on the hives, and then the other three that are kind of just chunking along. I just gotta let them. They're growing. They're growing good. They just gotta bulk up for the spring. And with the weather and all the cherry trees blooming, everything else, everything's coming up flowers. So that's great. Um,
Nice.
my big thing this weekend was after, and I don't know. I think we've talked on the thing. I know that I mostly drive a very old Explorer. I bought a new car
Mm-hmm.
for myself.
You finally accepted the fact that you've probably got your 300,000 miles and
I
got a new vehicle.
I'll get you to sign the I Eric Wheeler believe that John actually made 300,000, even though the ironic thing is I got back from the insurance today, who the insurance agent was like, if you keep that old Explorer on your policy, we'll assign the driver of that old car to one of your boys, and it will save you $2,000 a year in insurance. And I was like, really? So I'm gonna keep a car around, but for $2,000, I think the car's only worth like $1,500 or $1,000, if that. So
And it's all in the metal.
exactly.
It's the recyclable metals.
I don't know. Anyway, so I found that anyway. But the funny thing about this whole thing is that there is a bit of a story there. I mean, I've been looking for a car for a while.
You have been wanting an electric car for quite a while. And I know you
and
didn't want a Tesla. You wanted a Tesla, but you didn't want a Tesla.
yeah, no, I got a Mach-E, but
And I am jealous.
I test drove a Mach-E a couple months ago. Actually, I test drove a Mach-E a couple months before that. And then I also test drove a Mach-E back in 2021. But that's okay.
Yeah.
My wife said to the salesperson who was there, yeah, he takes a few years to make a decision like this. Anyway, the net of it is that I've been watching Auto Trader. I've had an alert on for a used one for
Right.
a couple months. And anyway, the Newburgh Ford, which is 50 miles south of us, 30 miles south of us, had a good deal. Ford had dropped the MSRP significantly in the last few weeks, month, and I was like, oh well, maybe I'll go buy that one I test drove. But when I called them, it had already sold. So I was like, so I called the local Ford place and I was like, hey, will you match? And it was a significant price reduction from what their website said. And they called me back half hour later and said, yep, we will. I'm like, okay. So I went down. Anyway, that even wasn't the story. The story was that I went on essentially a 15-hour drive then the next day.
You are way braver than I am to take a brand new car, electric car, which you're not familiar with how electric cars work, on a 800-mile round trip, 700-mile round trip journey?
600 ish.
Okay.
Yeah, but still, yeah, it took a while. And a non-zero amount of time was spent at charging stations. And I think that I dodged a fatal route choice, which would have been my first route choice, but I decided to go with what the car said in the guidance, even though it was a longer route. And so I pulled into Bend with 4% battery, which bend. So that's the problem, is that hypothetically it'll get like, 260 miles. But when you're going up the Cascades and it's, mid 30s outside, I guess.
Yeah, it's not getting.
It's not. It got like 100 and maybe it could have gone 185 miles and it went 175 miles. Anyway, net of it is I took my work laptop just in case I got stranded somewhere. And but I took it. It was good. And
Nice.
And I'm excited. Except that now if I decide to keep the old Explorer, I have to actually go get the steering fixed in it, which part of my rationale was, I'll donate it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. But there you go. It was a long weekend, a very long Sunday. That was a 6 a.m. to 9:30 p.m.
Yeah.
Drive.
Okay.
But, yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
It's exciting.
Cool.
It's exciting.
Cool.
How about a
All
topic?
right. Yeah. Okay. So my topic, Google has this thing called Incognito mode on their browser, right?
I do.
And I think a lot of people have a incorrect understanding of what Incognito actually does.
Or how networking works.
Yeah. It just, and I don't know that Google or any Safari has private browsing. I'm sure they all have, all the browsers have this similar thing. They don't go out of their way to kind of really explain what it really means. You kind of got to figure it out for yourself. But basically, what these private browsing incognito mode do is they just don't log things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Your ISP still knows what websites you're going to.
Mm-hmm. The website knows what IP address you're coming from.
Exactly. So it's not I can now browse the internet and no one knows what I'm doing. This is not Tor or any of those type services. So, or VPNs or anything like that. Anyways, so apparently Google was involved in a class action lawsuit for their incognito browsing because even though they were in incognito mode, they were collecting information from incognito browsers and were essentially tracking users who are using incognito mode because it basically is it's not going to save cookies, it's not going to save browser history on your client, but on the other side of anyways. So it is apparently a 2020 lawsuit that now has a proposed settlement of $5 billion. And that was calculated by determining the value of data Google had stored and would be forced to destroy and the data it would have prevented from collecting. So Google had to address this before December 2023, and any data that they don't outright delete that's on Google servers, they have to de-identify it somehow. And so Google has said, well, we never associated the data with users when they use incognito mode, and we're happy to delete any old technical data that was never associated with the individual and was never used for any form of personalization. So if you... I just kind of saw this in passing, and I'm like, well, just a reminder to people out there, incognito mode, private browsing may not be what you think it is. So keep an eye on that.
Is very much not. And yeah, you should just assume that anything you do online is known.
Yeah. Someone has a record of anything you do online.
And it may come out at some point. So
either never go online or never go into political office. Those are kind of your two choices. Those are...
Oh yeah. Okay, that's good. Good one. And good good advice in general. Assume no privacy.
Mm-hmm. No more secrets.
No more secrets. My topic for today, a couple years ago, there was and I did not dig back to see if we had talked about it at the time. We might have, because I have vague recollections of this, but a couple years ago, there was a alleged massive data breach of AT&T account data.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was in 21. I don't think I pulled that date out. But the full data set was never publicly posted, but it was in early March. And a couple of interesting things about this particular data set. So, according to AT&T, it looks like it was. It says, here's the quote from AT&T, an official statement. AT&T has launched a robust investigation supported by internal and external cybersecurity experts. Based on our preliminary analysis, the data set appears to be from 2019 or earlier.
So that fits me.
Yeah, me too. Impacting approximately 7.6 million current AT&T account holders and approximately 65.4 million former account holders.
That's still me. And now that's a stark delta between current and former.
Yeah, that seems like a lot of churn.
Seems like a lot of churn.
A lot of churn.
A lot more people hop cell phone providers than I guess I thought, I suppose.
You know,
I've had AT&T for 20 plus years. I'm just too lazy to hop.
I guess, or something. I must say that, we were on remember when the iPhones first came out and they had like unlimited data for the first unlimited data plan. We were on that for forever. And every time anything happened, they would
try to get
you got to get off that plan. And we were like, no, we're good.
We like that plan.
And eventually it got to the point where they were like, okay, I can see you're on this old plan because you wanted to hold on to it forever, but we actually have a better plan now that is actually cheaper, and you don't have to worry about losing and getting throttled and blah blah blah. Yeah. So I don't think we're actually on that plan anymore. But anyway, back to this. One other thing about this. I have not gotten a notification. Hypothetically, AT&T has sent notifications to all impacted parties, but maybe
it's in your spam folder.
I wonder if this is in one of my other email addresses. This is an old enough account. It might be in one of my old email addresses. Okay. Anyway, I might have to go search a different email. Okay. Back to the article here. Because there's a couple interesting things about this. So it's the first time that AT&T acknowledged that the leaked data belonged to its customers some 3 years after. So 2021, I guess. A hacker claimed the theft of 73 million AT&T customer records. Mm-hmm. AT&T said that it's not yet known whether the data in those fields originated from AT&T or one of its vendors. Okay. I guess if your vendors get a lot of personal data, including your AT&T passcodes, because it says the leaked data includes AT&T customer names, home addresses, phone numbers, dates of birth, and social security numbers, as well as the AT&T customer's account passcode in an encrypted format. Okay, so there you go. So that's kind of the first half of just the leak. But the other interesting part of this is, although the passcodes are in an encrypted format, the developer here, security researcher, said that it's not necessary to crack the encryption cipher to unscramble the passcodes. Why? Because most people use a 4-digit passcode between 0000 and 9999. Yeah. And after analyzing the 73 million passcode data set and removing duplicates, The result amounted to about 10,000 unique encrypted values, aka every
Math.
4-digit permutation from 0000 to 9999. And then they say, with a few outliers for the small number of AT&T customers with account passcodes longer than 4 digits.
I am raising my hand on that one.
Okay, good for you. But by correlating the encrypted passcodes to surrounding account data, such as dates of birth, partial social security numbers, and phone numbers, Crowley, the security researcher, was able to reverse engineer which encrypted values matched which plain text passcode.
Dun, dun, dun.
Because when you have 10,000, so you'd have 100 per million. So you'd have about 7,300 different, you'd have about 7,300 instances of every duplicate. Mm-hmm. I could do that math right? Or 730. Anyway, you'd have plenty of instances of the duplicate and find like 4 or 5 of them that all had, 1, 2, 3, 4 in their address or social security number. Right. So they reverse engineered that. So yeah, 4-digit passcodes are not awfully secure. So it's a good thing that's what the PIN is on your.
Mine's 6 digits.
I was going to say phone. On your debit card.
Oh, your debit card. I don't use a debit card. I don't know what my PIN is, actually. If someone said you need your PIN for your debit card, I'd be out of luck. I'm sure I set one at some point. I don't remember what it is.
There is one that is set. I will guarantee you that. And it's probably 4 digits.
Yeah.
I guess I would just say that on the banking system, the protections there are less, in some ways, less technical and more legal in nature.
Yeah. Well, I know my phone, I remember when iPhone went from 4-digit passcodes to 6-digit passcodes. Or you could actually have a word if you want to be really secure, I suppose. But
I'm sure there are 4 people in the world that do that.
I know. Yeah, no, I still get grumpy with AT&T because I had set that passcode years ago because we were doing all these podcasts on SIM swappers and how they would log in, and not that I had any crypto to protect with my SIM card, but I put one on, and every single time I log in, there is a checkbox that says, "Do you want to disable this extra layer of security?" And I have to, no, I want to keep it every time. It's clearly a feature that they are trying to get rid of. I'm like, no.
Their security people said, you must do this. And their usability people said, we don't want to, or something. Who knows?
So it is kind of a pain to log into my AT&T account because I log in and then it goes to some completely uglier looking screen that's like, you're this among the small handful of weirdos that have this extra passcode. Enter it here so we can continue. And let me give you this big fat checkbox to get rid of it because you really don't want it. I'm like, no, I do.
That's so funny. So funny.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, well, there you go.
One of these days, I just won't be able to log into my AT&T account because they'll just get rid of it and they'll break everything, and I'll have to call somebody and say, we got rid of that. You need to blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, whatever.
There you go. I don't know about that. All right. That was my article for tonight. So check your spam folder for mail
AT&T
from AT&T
message. Yeah. All right. So my something fun. So I know you are a fan of Civ 6. You like that. I saw this article a couple of weeks ago, and it is about the first human recipient of a Neuralink brain implant. So that's the computer chip, basically, that they stick in your brain that allows you to control things. The
Neuralink
first human
is
recipient,
Musk's brain augmentation company. Yes.
Yeah, whatever it is. They shared new details on this first human recipient on his recovery and experience of living with the experimental assistive tech, which has allowed him a greater level of freedom and autonomy, including the ability to pull an all-nighter playing Sid Meier's Civilization 6.
What?
Yes. So it's He's a quadriplegic, so really can't move, and was recovering well after his surgery. Got the implant, and after all this time now, apparently there's a 9-minute live stream with this guy, Nolan Arbaugh, this 29-year-old, using the technology to play a digital version of chess and discussing how the experimental aid has changed his life. So I like his quote here. It's a pretty good quote. He's like, "It was like using the force on the cursor, and I could get it to move wherever I wanted, just stare somewhere at the screen, and it would move where I wanted it to, which is such a wild experience," explained Arbaugh. The 29-year-old complete quadriplegic shared that he had lost sensation and suffered paralysis from below the shoulders after sustaining a spinal injury during a driving accident 8 years ago, and felt compelled to volunteer for the trial out of an urge to be a part of something he felt could change the world. So, kind of cool. Not a chance I would put one of these chips in my head at this point. But good for you, early pioneers. And, if that's great. If that can change your life for something for the better. I just thought it was hilarious that he not bragged, but one of his initial comments was, "I was able to play Civ 6 for all night, and something I haven't been able to do forever." So,
I couldn't agree with him.
You resemble that comment.
I love Civ 6, and I think that, is there a better game that he could have chosen? No.
Anyways, so there you go. Neuralink
awesome.
brain implants seem to work on some level. So,
all right, I'll have to watch the video.
Yeah.
It's a new world. It's a new world.
There you go.
All right. Well, I am going to use the something fun that JR put in Slack today. Earlier this week at some point.
Pandering to the host.
Yes, but
it worked.
But it's about bees. I mean, how can I resist? How can I resist? So, Washington Post article about is there a bee boom or not? And so, I guess the fun kind of thing about being so deep in the weeds in this stuff, I guess, is that there wasn't much surprising in here to me, but there were a couple of points that I was like, "Ooh, I didn't know that." So the premise of this is that every 5 years, the Department of Agriculture puts out a census. And according to the Department of Agriculture, we are at the highest level of bee colonies in production, herds of bees since like the mid 80s. Mm-hmm. As many as 3.8 or 3, like almost 4 million colonies. But that is at odds with the annual honey report, which is, a kind of industry research. But so are they up or are they down? Well, the Department of Agriculture, they survey and require anyone to respond who has a farm with more than $1,000 in farm income. And that $1,000 figure hasn't changed since the mid 70s. So with inflation, and at this point, you can have $1,000 of farm income by selling honey or by selling, not very much. $1,000 in 1975 was certainly worth a lot more than $1,000 now. So they basically have a lot of 1 to 5 colony people, where the annual honey report only really counts industry, like commercial beekeepers. Okay, so that's one thing. So then it's like, well, where are all these new hives? And the article has a chart in here. It would be Texas. Texas has more colonies than any other state by like a long shot. By
orders of magnitude.
practically orders of magnitude. But hugely up. Well, why would Texas do that? Well, it turns out a few years ago, the Texas legislature, or at least one of the counties in Texas, made it so that if you have beehives on your farm property, it counts as you get farm deferral for tax purposes, for property tax purposes.
So
and they have
bunch of bee farmers really quick. Opportunistic bee. What are you? Beekeepers.
Beekeeper. Yeah. Beekeeper or bug farmer.
Bug farmer.
But there's even a quote in here from somebody who basically rents hives. Evidently it would be cheaper to rent to put some beehives on your property than it would be to pay the taxes. And so that has generated tens of thousands of
nice
quote unquote beekeepers in Texas, in particular northern Texas. Okay, fine. Well, whatever. And other counties in Texas, followed suit, and so that's the Texas thing. Okay, fine. So Texas, huge. Then it kind of gets into a little bit about the beekeeping industry, and I take it for granted. I think I've even made mention of it on here, but I don't think everybody realizes quite how important the almond population is in Northern California. I know we've said it, but the statement in this article was that $4 out of every $5 spent on pollination every year is spent on almond pollination.
I have a love-hate relationship with almonds because I grew up in Northern California, but they are not a plant you want to grow if you want to conserve water.
I was going to say, you like your water table?
I love them, but Googled it, it's takes a gallon of water to
make an almond.
A single almond. Yes.
Or almond, as you say.
Almond.
Almond?
Spell salmon.
Almond.
Add a D and throw off the S. Almond. Salmon, almond.
Potato, tomato. Anyway, so I thought that was a crazy thing.
Yeah.
And there is a cool picture in here of an almond orchard, which basically looks like it has just snowed from all the blooms. And at some point I should go down there and do that, just to see it when it's in the.
It is beautiful
in the blooming season.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I thought great article. One of the other sort of analogies in there, they're like, are pollinators surviving or thriving because bees are maintaining? And they're like, no, that would basically be the same as saying that, our birds are healthy because we have a lot of chickens. Bees are livestock in this context, not sort of wild pollinators. If anything, they make it hard for native pollinators in some places to survive. But
yeah, well,
anyway,
I liked the chart in here that showed it calls it livestock, but aren't bees fish in California? But anyways, livestock that, bees have gone up, ducks have gone up, chickens, hogs, deer has increased, but pretty much every other type of livestock is less. There are less farms, less whatever, down to the poor ostrich and llama farmers. They've fallen off a cliff. Nobody raises ostriches. Nobody has ostrich farms anymore.
What were the date ranges of this? Changed since 2007.
Yeah, to 2020. Anyways.
Ostriches are evidently not the other red meat.
I've told you that I've had ostrich before, haven't I? Have I told you that story? So uh, when I worked for the startup and we were flying weekly out to Scotts Valley, California, there was a restaurant that we would go to dinner at that had different types of burgers. And one of them was ostrich. And I thought, when am I ever going to try an ostrich burger? Let's just try one. And it is the other red meat. It tasted just like a steak with a, it's like you eat it and you're like, there's something not quite right with this hamburger, but it's hamburger. So I was surprised. Yeah, I was. I expected that thing a chicken out or something.
I was going to say that I thought you were going to say that they had it at the Cruise Inn Diner before that went out of business.
No, they had llama.
They had a bunch of stuff. Yeah, they had a llama burger.
I tried a llama burger once.
Yeah.
That's all it took. Anyways.
Anyway. Okay.
All right.
Well, there you go. It's a great
Good
article
stuff, John.
on bees. Okay, my friend.
I will talk to you next week.
Talk to you later. Bye, Eric.
See ya. Bye.